How's it going, everyone? David from dodmedia, home of tutorials, tips, gear reviews and monthly giveaways for filmmakers and photographers. Today I want to give a few reasons why I think it's worth investing in a motorized slider like this one over a manual push-pull slider like this one. So just to start off, in front of me here I've got the GVM 80QD, which I did a review on a few weeks ago. And this is my very old Cinovate doozy slider. I think this is the first generation of the doozy slider that came out. And it's been a great slider. This thing's been all around the world with me. It's been filming and giving me nice smooth motion. But the problem is it's a manual slider. There isn't even a flywheel on it, so it doesn't have any kind of consistent motion with it. It's really down to what your hand does, and that was always a problem for me. But the thing was, I couldn't afford a motorized slider because they all cost, you know, $2,000 and upwards. But because technology is becoming so much cheaper, this slider is now cheaper to buy than this one is, the newer version of this one. Which puts that whole question of, do I need a motorized slider versus can I afford one? Really puts that question back in the spotlight, because if they're the same price, this offers so much more than this does. So why would you buy a manual push-pull slider apart from just the weight of it? It's nice and lightweight, easy to carry around. The reason that I bought this manual slider is because it offers so much automation, so much potential for interviews where I can just have it panning back and forth and back and forth. And if you watch the review, there's this central bar which will actually pan or track the mounting head that's on there, which is awesome. But as well as that, it offers me the potential for time lapses. It offers me the potential for shooting an automated shot so that I can do stuff, interact with lights, interact with lens, interact with anything I want without having to actually worry about the movement. I've essentially removed one whole key function in the production line. And by removing that function, which was a manual function, I've removed all of that margin of error that came with a manual push-pull slider. Now, don't get me wrong, this thing offers some great smooth slides. But the problem is there are always going to be inconsistencies with my hand pushing this thing. It's inevitable. I'm human. I have a pulse. I have so many things happening in my arm that are not allowing me to have a perfectly motorized fluid motion like that. And that's really what it all boils down to for me, is taking away those inconsistencies to allow me to have something that is smooth, automated, and reliable and replicable. If I wanted to, I could shoot two scenes with this thing, one shooting in normal motion, one shooting a time lapse, and sync them so that they are exactly the same speed, and then mask out the sky so that it's a normal street, but I've got clouds going absolutely crazy in a time lapse. That's doable because that motion is replicable. You can clone it, you can reproduce it effortlessly through the controller. You'd never ever be able to do that on a manual push-pull slider. So it's an option that essentially opens up loads of options for you, loads of creative options for you. And I don't mean to say that all camera movement should be smooth and automated, absolutely not. I mean, you look at a gimbal is there to simulate handheld shots. But quite often I actually really enjoy shooting just handheld, holding the camera, getting those little micro shakes, micro jitters in there that you get when you're shooting that you just don't really get with a gimbal. So sometimes if your shot's looking a little bit too clinical, shooting it actually handheld works really well. But the purpose of a slider is to get a smooth shot. So having your hand moving this inconsistently or just about consistently it's kind of only doing the job by half. I mean, you're never gonna get someone who's gonna say, oh, I don't like that slide, it's too smooth. I want some inconsistencies in my slide. Thank you very much. It's never gonna happen. So that's pretty much what this video was about today, because I feel like a lot of people are still buying manual push-pull sliders, which might have a flywheel and that helps with some consistency, but it still doesn't allow you to do so much stuff that a motorized slider, does allow you to do. And considering that they're becoming roughly the same price, it makes sense to consider whether you would actually, quite like to benefit from the features that a motorized slider has to offer. It is a little bit more of a pain to have to set it up. You have to have your battery charged, you have to have the controller, you plug into the motor, you set the in and out points so that it doesn't grind its gears against the very end. You don't have that with this. You put your camera on there and you slide it and you're happy. But once you accept that you have that tiny little setup time, it opens up so many possibilities for you creatively as a filmmaker. I can't really see myself not having this anymore since I have had it. And really the things that I'm looking for to achieve with this are B camera interview slides. So I have my A camera like this one here, and then off to the side, I'll have another camera on here that is a tighter shot, which is just kind of slowly tracking and sliding around the subject. That way I can cut between the A angle and the B angle, the A cam and the B cam. And because I shoot alone, I wouldn't be able to do that with this. I wouldn't be standing there with the interview like, yeah, so tell me, what does it feel like to do this? And just kind of move it around manually like that. It's never gonna be a thing, because it would be way too distracting for the interviewee to start with. And also, again, the inconsistencies. So having that as an automated thing, perfect. I can just set that, hit film, forget about it. And as I mentioned earlier, the other thing is motion time-lapse. I absolutely love time-lapses. I love shooting time-lapses, I love editing time-lapses, I love watching time-lapses. I've spent so many hours on YouTube watching time-lapses. But being able to motorize movement into your time-lapses, and with this thing being able to track a subject or pan towards something during a time-lapse is huge. It's absolutely huge. And it's just not something you'd ever be able to achieve with this. You'd never do it. I challenge someone to do that. If you can do that, I will give you this slider. But you have to show all the behind the scenes and show that you're actually doing it and not just trying to con me out of a slider. I don't really know what else there is to say, really. I think that, I think I've said it all. Hit that thumbs up button if you liked what you saw, and give this a subscribe. No, I've got that all wrong, haven't I? Give this a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you liked what you saw, and hit the little bell to be notified when a new video comes out. I know I've been doing a lot of gear reviews recently, so if you're here for the tutorials, don't worry, there are plenty coming your way soon. Leave a comment in the comment section, I'd love to know what you thought of this, and I'll see you in the next video. Disco.